All right, are we working now? Are we live? It looks like we're live. It says that we're live, but these streams are being a little bit cantankerous with us here lately, guys. So if we're live, cool. And look, I get it. A lot of times the feed, when it flakes out, we end up not really being able to have a live show. So that's always a drag. It has a lot of weird inconsistencies to it, but we will get through it. So getting back to the topic. So the thing is that uh, talking about middleweight adventure bikes, and man, I got to tell you, it's a topic that's near and dear to my heart, just because I have such a soft spot for these bikes. But I've ridden quite a few of these, and there are two standouts that are awesome, and one that was a bit of a letdown. And as I'm going through, yammering on over here, let me know if the live feed is working now, because I can't tell on my end. Everything on my end usually will end up looking great, and then I only to find out that it's a dud. So again, throw me a note down in the chat. Just say, yeah, it's working, or I guess in a way, if it's not working, then you won't let me know, and then I'll figure that out pretty quickly too. Anyway, so back to business. If it's your first time hanging out with a live show, thanks for stopping by. This is my opportunity to hang out with you guys, to trade some ideas for videos. A lot of times, some ideas for videos just don't make it to video, and it's easier just to talk about them in the live. But in saying all of that, getting into what is in essence, it's kind of like a shadow favorite class of bike. Modern Muscle is saying it's up and running. That is good to hear. It's funny. It's what's weird about the live show is that there are times where it's running great, and then there's times where it just absolutely flakes out. So thank you very much, Modern Muscle. I appreciate you letting me know. But it's a weird, like, it's just a weird, fun little crush that I have on all of these types of bikes, these middleweight ADV bikes. Again, a lot of it has to do with, well, I kind of feel like I'm a kid when I'm riding this thing, like I'm getting away with something. I'm on a dirt bike, really, in essence. But the reality is that these bikes are a lot of fun. They're not super expensive. But the other side of it, too, is that they're very much in demand. And so even if you have one for a couple of years, you can get away from it and still recapture a decent chunk of your money. They're just a hoot when it comes to versatility. Yeah, it's kind of fun. The bike that I most recently rode was the Transalp 750. And I had recently ridden a couple of others that I want to get into. But so far, the Transalp 750, in a couple of ways, really is the standout. Only because it looks the most like a dirt bike in its base form. And I feel like an ADV bike kind of needs that. Although I do also like the base V-Strom, where it's much more a street-oriented type of a machine. So where does that leave us? Well, look, you've got the Tenere, you've got every other offering from every other manufacturer, but there's one bike in particular that for some reason I think there's a couple of reasons. One, I had maybe some unrealistic expectations of it. Another reason that I think it kind of failed a little bit for me was that it didn't have any glowing characteristic to it. And that was the Tiger Sport 800. I like the motorcycle. Don't get me wrong. This is not, I'm not handing out demerits here. The Tiger Sport 800 for me was very much middle of the road, but it didn't favor like the best of both worlds type of a scenario. Let me explain. Let's start with a bike that I very first fell in love with when it comes to this segment. And when I talk about love, I mean, like, I want to take you home with me. That's the V-Strom 800. That bike was, and still is, one of, if not my favorite, middleweight sports adventure bike. So let me share that one with you real quick. Go ahead and pull the screen up here. There we go. Okay. So here's the thing. Absolutely dig the hell out of the V-Strom. The V-Strom for me, it really is the best of a lot of things. When you're looking for that middleweight, when you want to find something that's got that middle ground absolutely covered, the V-Strom is really tough to beat. And what makes it so good is the engine itself, that 776cc parallel twin. This is a really good, probably the best, if you're looking for, say, around $10,000 as a commuter. It has very strong low RPM throttle response. It's the same engine that you'll find in the GSX 8S and the GSX 8R. It's also the basis, or the engine is, of the new the T and the TTs that are going to be released. So at 80 horsepower and I think 60 pound-feet of torque is what this thing's rated at. It's got a ton of punch down low, and it makes the bike feel like the engine that you're riding is significantly larger. And because of that, the bike really does have, it's got a real playful nature to it. And that parallel twin, the calling card of that engine is just that instant snap of torque that you've got. So, in saying all of that, what could be better, right? I mean, what could be better than the V-Strom? Well, you're going to have to do really well to convince me that there is better. But I'll tell you this, I found a motorcycle that I got to tell you guys, I really liked. And I really liked it for every reason that I like the V-Strom. Just invert everything about it. What's coming up? It's the Transalp. Okay, so what makes me like the Transalp so much is, I just got through riding this bike today, and I am not kidding, guys. I would have absolutely no problem rocking that Transalp daily. The thing is that you can kit these bikes out with all the luggage and everything else that you could ever want or need. But the thing is that the Transalp or the V-Strom, they offer up a little bit different riding experience. The Transalp gives better, higher RPM performance. So, but that doesn't mean that it's faster or that it is more competent. It just means it's a little bit different. Where the V-Strom, you kind of treat that riding experience like you're short shifting it, and it rips in that environment. Now, that engine makes peak power even lower than the Transalp. The V-Strom is making peak power right in that, say, right in that 8,000 RPM range, where you've got to carry the Transalp about another 1,000 RPM. What does that mean? Well, it translates to the V-Strom having a very motorway friendly power band, where you just kind of roll into the throttle and that 776 parallel twin just kind of shoves you forward. The Transalp will do the same thing. You just need to drop a gear. And if you think of it like that, like you're just going to drop a gear, roll into the throttle, that's where the Transalp does really well. It's not that it doesn't have the power in 6th gear. Well, it doesn't have the initial tip-in torque in 6th gear. But what you do have is you have the advantage of RPM with the Transalp. And so when you ride that bike and take advantage of it, it makes it more of a sporty experience. And so in that respect, Transalp. Now, both of those bikes are a yes. In other words, yes, you've made the right decision. Whether it's V-Strom or Transalp, you have done a good job picking a bike. There is no need to call out a favorite because they both have differing ways of going about doing, in essence, the same thing. So what would be better than that? Would more power get you maybe a level up in terms of, favorite? Well, maybe. Look at it like this. The V-Strom checks in at the flywheel with 80 horsepower. Let's call it 83. I think it's 80. but let's call it 83 because both numbers are sticking in my head. The Transalp is rated at 92. And listen, 10 horsepower on a motorcycle is a lot, but it doesn't really feel like a lot more with the Transalp because they both really do kind of seem to hit well above their weight class, which is to say that the Transalp and the V-Strom both feel like you're riding a bike with more displacement than what you bought. So yeah, even though the Transalp does make more horsepower, well, the V-Strom's got it beat in tip-in torque and in partial throttle torque. And so again, you can kind of let the two wash out. But let me show you a bike that I'm still a little bit on the fence of when it comes to these middleweight adventure bikes. So go ahead and pull this one up. And this is a bike I really thought I was going to like a lot, like a whole lot. And that's the Tiger Sport 800. And one of the reasons why this bike gets a bit of an eyebrow raise is probably my own fault. I had some pretty high expectations with this bike. And I think that walking into any type of a review where you're supposed to be objective, but you're going, I can't wait, this is going to be fun. It didn't end up being that. Now, it's not to say that the bike isn't capable. This thing will absolutely get down the road. But what I found interesting with the Tiger Sport 800 is that there was nothing really, how do I say this? There was no defining characteristic to how that bike got down the road. It was overwhelmingly linear with how it put power to the ground, which is to say that it was underwhelming to ride. It was punchy, I suppose, and it is making good power. And it is the largest displacement of the group, and it weighs about the same at 470 pounds. I rode it in sport mode, and I just never really got the sense that this bike was living up to the sport in the sport moniker. And here's another crazy twist with the Tiger Sport 800. Guys, I've ridden the Tiger 850 and I've ridden the Tiger 900. And those two motorcycles were really good. I mean, really good. The Tiger 850 was the bike that absolutely changed my perception of the sport utility / adventure type of bike. It just absolutely ripped. And it did so in a way that the 800 kind of didn't, even though the spec sheet on that Tiger 850, look, you would be forgiven if you thought that the 800 would run away from it. Hell, I think on first glance, the 850 is making like 15 or 20 less horsepower than the 800. So why did it feel so much stronger? Look, I don't know. The 900 was a completely different animal altogether, even from the 850. And the 850 was already very impressive in my book. Would have been extremely happy to take that bike home. But what really kind of got weird with me was the 800 in the fact that even when I tried to roll into this bike and tried to push it hard, nothing really happened. It was like it was the promise of a bunch of power. It's rated at 113, which is the same as the Tracer 9, basically. Both of them triples, by the way. It's rated at 113 horsepower and I want to say 70 pound-feet of torque. But I'm curious as to where that power was. I never got a chance to experience it. And it's not like this bike was in some kind of a weird break-in mode. It had a well over 100 miles on it. It was a demo bike. So I still don't get it. And for me, this motorcycle at $12,500, look, check this out. Let me pull up a bike that we're going to shoot for the middle on this for pricing. All right, so check it out. The the V-Strom 800, let me scroll into this, bear with me, guys, is $10,100. Hold on, guys. I just messed up. Timeout. Okay, now we can pull it up. I'm just getting this all screwed up. Here we go. Okay. So the V-Strom is they're all, the V-Strom and the Transalp, both $10,000 bikes. For extra monies, you could throw luggage on this thing and kit it out with a lot of accessories if you wanted to play the price game between the Tiger. This is the more road-going variant of the two, the Transalp and the V-Strom. So I guess it would be the closest to the Tiger Sport in terms of spec. And the Tiger Sport's got more adjustability and all of that, but in this kind of bike, you're not really looking for that. And so the more I started looking at the Tiger Sport, the more I thought, man, they need more sport in this Tiger Sport, because to a guy that rides motorcycles and rides a different bike pretty much every week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, between bikes that I'm doing riding reviews on and my own personal bikes, I'm picking the V-Strom, and I'm picking the V-Strom over the Tiger Sport, which kind of breaks my heart to say, because I really did have some high hopes for that bike. And for whatever reason, and I'm not sure, it just really didn't deliver the way I thought. Sam, what is it? What is up, man? You're in. Hey, how's is the stream still looking good, Sam? I know we were having troubles earlier, so I just want to make sure we are still looking good. So that's kind of where I'm at with these middleweights in a nutshell. I have and the other thing too with these middleweights is I almost feel like I want it to look a certain way too, right? I mean, check out the V-Strom. That looks like an ADV bike. It looks like a sport utility bike. It looks like the kind of bike that I would put, luggage on it, put a box on it, and use as and use it as a work truck in essence. Oh, Sam's getting a bunch of rain on his end. Man, I'll tell you what, we've been getting hit with a ton of rain down here. It's been crazy. Yeah, look, here's another bike. Let me just do this. Here's another bike that, it looks the part. Let me share the screen with you here, guys. So the Transalp, look at the thing. It looks like a proper ADV bike. It's a damn good looking bike, guys. And let me tell you, by the way, full disclosure, the red, white, and blue livery on the Transalp with the gold wheels, it looks great in print. It is criminally pretty in person. Look, there ain't no arguing the point that the Transalp is the far and away better looking bike. But again, it is more of an ADV bike. And if you are of a certain size, it may not necessarily be the right bike for you, although they do have a lowered seat that you can option on that machine. So again, here's the way I look at it, guys. If I'm riding a cruiser, I want it to be a cruiser. I want it to look like a cruiser. Sport bike looks like a sport bike because it does sport bike things, and form follows function with those types of machines. That's where I'm at with these bikes. Form is following function beautifully with the Transalp, as it is with the V-Strom. But with the Tiger Sport, it doesn't really do that. Oh, Sam's power just went out. That sucks. Yeah, we've been getting hit with some pretty cells down here. All right, so the Tiger 800, it's a sport bike with a lift kit, which is cool. I like it. And it's a really good looking bike in person too. But I don't know. There's just a thing there. And I think, again, I think that 800cc triple, it could have been more. And I think that's the only thing. I think it's got us left a little bit wanting. And God, there's just no excuse for that bike to just be so flat when it comes to power. Was really hoping for more, but again, we only can work with what we've got. Sam saying I was going to cut the grass tomorrow. Dude, Sam, check this out. So it has rained and then stopped and then rained and then stopped down here so many times. I haven't been able to cut the grass. And I had to get out there today. And oh my God, I'm not even done. I had to stop. It was taking me so long. It was big, tall. It was bad. So anyway, yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I'm kind of stuck right now with that. But yeah, guys, that's as far as, the bikes that I've ridden. Transalp, big time fan of that bike. V-Strom, the same thing. Huge fan of that bike. The Tiger 800, I just don't know what to think. Sam saying 5 acres will be underwater. Yipes. Yeah, I don't have to mess with that kind of acreage anymore. Luckily. I miss it, but I don't miss it. But yeah, I don't know. The funny thing about the Tiger 800, I will give it this. I really wanted to spend a lot more time with this bike. I don't feel like the time that I had with it gave me the best impression of it. Although I spent plenty of time and I had it on service streets and all of that. But I'm not so sure that this bike was given a fair hit with me. This is the kind of bike that I would almost want to have, like 2 or 3 hours with it without any kind of strings attached. Just you got 2 hours with this bike. Go run the hell out of it. That might have done a little bit more for me with this bike, but to be fair, I think I'm just kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm grasping at straws. Realistically, I think that either it's a gearing issue or outright power or whatever, but the bike that I rode was just, so. X is in. What's going on, man? So that is the middleweights in a nutshell. Some behind the scenes acting. So I'm in the process of moving parts from Red Alert over to the bike with no name right now, the 2018 GSXR 1000R. Moving that MRA windscreen over, putting mirrors back on Red Alert. A couple of other gadgets and doodads that I'm moving from that bike over to the blue bike, getting ready to move Red Alert on. The 2018 is going to stick around, and we've got to make room for the 26. And so that's what we're doing. That's why I'm getting that bike ready. So we're going to take the exhaust off of it, put it on the 2018. Going to have the 2018 flashed for that exhaust. And, we're just going to have ourselves a little bit of a hot rod with that 2018 until the 26 arrives. X is saying, doing well. You doing all right? I'm doing well. Thank you, sir. Loving the ride along with the bikes. Thank you very much. I am loving bringing those to you. Oh, by the way, I've got one coming that I did today as well. And I'm going to tell y'all something. And look, hang on, let me get it pulled up. I'm gonna bring this to you guys. Oh no, that's not what I was looking for. Bear with me. Let me get it pulled up. Some of y'all know what I'm about to be pulling up. Some of y'all are going, what are you talking about? This is the exact bike that I rode. Oh, this thing is glitchy as all shit. Okay. Let me pull this up for you guys. Hang on. So this is the bike that today that I had a lot of fun with. This is another one, the Shadow Phantom. This is a 750cc V twin. Very much a bobber style cruiser, a very traditional bobber style cruiser. And this is one where you will see this. You should see this one pop up tomorrow morning, question mark. Anyway, with a post-ride review to follow. And it is going to be it was a fun video to make with this bike. And the reason why it was so fun is, look, you don't come into this bike with any kind of ego whatsoever. The thing is that, what is it, like $8,200? And you get a V twin that when you fire it up, the handlebars shake and it sounds amazing. And I got to tell you, it was more capable than I thought that it was going to be. Okay, so this is a V twin, and it's making 44 horsepower and 45 pound-feet of torque. But all of that power is available like at 5,500 RPM. There's no tack or anything like that. You're just kind of gas gear. Doesn't have any kind of rider aids, doesn't have a quick shifter, doesn't have any of that stuff. But I got to tell you, and it's a smaller bike. It's not like a big cruiser type thing. It's a smaller in stature bike. But damn, the thing was a lot of fun to ride. Again, you've got all of the noise. And again, it sounds amazing. You get all of the noise of any V twin. It makes all the right little vibrations for you. But weirdly enough, it's kind of capable when you start to give it gas. One of the things that I found with this bike was just rolling into the throttle. It had some snap to it. So anyway, be on the look out for the Shadow Phantom. I had a ball with this thing. And, for the type of bike that it is and what its mission statement would be, it's a great bike. And what I mean by that is this. Let's say you're smaller in stature, for example. Let's say you're 5'5", 5'4", 5'6". This bike would fit you very well. The seat height is basically knee high almost. Like there's a very low seat height that you're working with. Being just shy of 6 feet tall, right at 200 pounds, I could flat foot it, be on my heels with a significant bend in my knee. But anyway, if you're a smaller rider, a female rider, for example, holy cow, this would make for a fun bike for you. I didn't mention this in the ride along, but I'll mention it in the post ride. It's about 530 pounds full of fluid. But again, it's so low and it carries its weight so low that you never really feel it. It's sure-footed and parking lot maneuvers, very easy there. But one thing about it, again, I just keep coming back to this, is gets down the freeway, great. You can park this thing at 75, 80 miles an hour all day long, and it'll love it. It'll lap it right up. It's got a 5-speed transmission that shifts very nicely. Again, no rider aids. The thing checks in at $8,600, $8,700. So, it's just a fun bike. It's a fun first bike for somebody very young. It doesn't make a ton of power, but it makes plenty of power to get you where you want to go. And it sounds amazing. And it's the bike that Harley won't flip and make. And that's the other thing. And I'm telling you right now, this is the second motorcycle from Honda that Harley Davidson should take a long ass look at and start making bikes like the Shadow. Because I got news for you. The Shadow is actually going to be a 3-part video for me. There's going to be a ride and review. There's going to be a post-ride review and wrap up. And then there's going to be me absolutely scathing Harley Davidson for not making this particular motorcycle. And with Harley Davidson now not making if I'm not mistaken, they're not offering the Softail Classic anymore. Is that right? I couldn't believe it when I saw that it wasn't on their website anyway. Maybe they are. I just missed it. But this is the type of bike that, look, a young person can buy it. You can have it as your first bike, and it'll get you where you want to go with some style, man. It gets you around with some sound. Harley Davidson could make this so easily, and yet they don't. Honda's beating them to the punch for an American style cruiser, but it's got Honda reliability. It's got Honda quality control. It's got all of that wrapped up in this bike. So, man, I got to tell you, I came away after riding this bike, not only impressed with it, but man, I was thinking to myself, shoot, if I was, late teen, early 20 and needed something to get just from point A to point B on, or wanted something that was going to be easy to ride, something that you're just mainly going to be kicking it in town on, I mean, it's a hell of a bike for the money, and it's a hell of a bike just in general. So, and again, for a smaller rider, for a female rider, for a dude that's like maybe say 145, 150 pounds, that, you're not into going fast. You want something that's kind of cool, something that's laid back. You like the sound. And you're not ego driven. Like, oh, if it's not a Harley, it's well, nothing is a Harley except a Harley. But when Harley doesn't make the bike that you want, you go to the manufacturer that does. Period. And I'm sorry, but anybody that, wants to try to be some level of gatekeeper, some fart sniffer that wants to tell me that this isn't good enough, I got news for you. Not only is this bike really good, I think that it's a whole lot better than some folks would like to admit. And I think there's a lot of folks that look at a motorcycle like this and go, damn, if Harley Davidson would make cool stuff like this for a more youth-oriented market, then maybe they wouldn't be looking down the barrel of a bankruptcy settlement right now, based on the fact that, well, let's look at, I don't want to have this turn into a Harley conversation, but I'll put it to you like this. There'd be a whole lot more people walking through the doors of a Harley Davidson dealership if you could get your hands on an entry-level bike like this, and you used to be able to. The Sportster 883. Do you realize that Harley Davidson sold, I think, every single one of the 883s that they made? Like, I don't think there was ever one sitting on a showroom floor for any real length of time. That's why. It's a great bike, and it's a great opportunity to have something cool. So, look, man, if you're going to give up a bike, Harley, you can't give up the 883, but you did. You tried to replace it with the Nightster. That bike has actually nobody's really going after that thing. This is what you could have made. And by the way, hey, this bike, it's liquid cooled. So, I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell. It's got a cool radiator on it, just like the Bonneville does. So anyway, there's going to be a lot that's going to be in that post-ride review, and there's going to be one that Harley, why couldn't you make this bike type thing? So, and it's a shame. It's a shame because it's a freaking 6-inch putt to sink on this, and it ain't going to happen. So it is what it is. But with that, guys, I got to go ahead and wrap it up. I got to get back to work. Listen, if you made it this far into the show, consider hitting the subscribe button. It helps out the channel a ton. Get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it way more than you know. And with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Y'all take it easy.